Good afternoon, everyone, and I would like to welcome you to the Public Sector PSU Energies Innovation Summit, organized by Elets Technomedia, powered by Microsoft and knowledge partner eGov. We all know that global commitments and evolving energy dynamics call for rapid adoption of new technologies in energy efficiency, energy conservation, carbon reduction, and green fuels. As the country sets out to achieve ambitious target of net zero emission by 2070, it is imperative for the energy PSUs to leverage new age innovation and realign themselves in order to address the complexities of the future. Realizing this, Elits Technomedia, along with Microsoft India, is delighted to present the PSU Energy Innovation Summit through a virtual platform today. And this is a 2 hour program which will begin now and it will go on till 5 o'clock. The key discussion points today would be adopting advanced technologies like AI, wearables, robots to augment field technicians, improve safety and reducing maintenance costs, energy companies saving OPEX through process digital twins using IoT and ML, reorganizing operations along the customer journey leveraging agile to speed up process and increasing CSAT, investing in technology and platforms to boost supply chain resiliency, and AI for productivity improvements, and many more such topics. Let me just introduce our panelists for today, the speakers for today, in fact. We have with us Mr. Mahendra Hasabnis, Mr. Mahendra Hasabnis, Senior Industry Executive Manufacturing from Microsoft India. Welcome, sir. We have with us Mr. Vishal Agarwal. He's a partner analytics consulting, Ernst and Young LLP. Welcome, sir. Then we have a panel discussion where we have Ms. Kumud Wadhwa, Senior General Manager, National Smart Grid Mission Project Management Unit, Power Grid Corporation of India. Welcome, ma'am. We have with us Mr. Ruchir Agarwal, Chief General Manager, CF&T Indian Oil Corporation Limited. Welcome, Mr. Agarwal. We have with us Mr. Raman Dhillon, General Manager, Head IRIS, Project Anubhav, Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited. Welcome, Mr. Dhillon. We have with us Mr. A.K. Ray, Deputy General Manager, GAIL India Limited. Welcome, sir. Mr. Suresh Kukian, Director Sales Public Business, Microsoft India. He'll be the moderator for the panel. Then we have some technology presentations by Mr. Amit Bansal, Senior Product Manager, Dynamics 365 and Power Platform, Microsoft India. A technology presentation by Aditi Rathi, Director Product Growth, Analytics and AI, Azure Business Group, Microsoft India. A technology presentation by Dhruv Soni, Technical Sales Professional, TSP, Microsoft India. In the end, we have a fireside chat with Mr. Atul Kumar Tripathi, Executive Director, O&M, GAIL India. Thank you so much, everyone. And now we start the day with an industry overview by Mr. Mahendra Hasabnis. He's the Senior Industry Executive Manufacturing, Microsoft India. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Tarannum, for the introductions. I'm just going to share my screen. Hope my screen is visible and I'm audible. Clear?
Yes, sir. Your screen is also visible and you're audible as well.
Thank you so much. So, very warm good afternoon to our participant, our fellow speakers, and the panelists and the participant of this forum. I'm quite excited to be part of this forum and share some of my viewpoints as well as the opportune areas within the energy industry, where we all know, as Tarnum said, that we are committed for the carbon neutral in coming few years as India, but then globally there is a very high emphasis on removing the carbon and carbon from the industry and then becoming carbon neutral, and that is driving many of the changes in the industry from a traditional, players to the new renewable players coming into the industry. In fact, we are seeing a lot of traditional players kind of embracing the newer renewable business as well as a newer strategy that they have. So quickly, I would like to begin with touching upon the various forces which are at the work, which are driving the transformation in the industry. So if we look at some of these forces, customer is definitely at the center of this transformation, and uh, a lot of our customers and the partners which are looking at serving the new energy customer. Customers are looking for engaging in a newer ways or a better ways, I would say, and then the customers are kind of following that. There is an increasing focus on the renewable energy, as we all know, because of the sustainability initiatives. There are initiatives in the new grid and the new operating models by the various suppliers, and they are essentially, basically looking at bringing efficiencies and resiliency into their, operations by way of that. We are setting an ambitious goals for the sustainability, and majority of the digital investments are, kind of flowing into this particular space. And last but not least is the regulations, and these regulations are definitely, accelerating some of the digital innovation across the industry. So uh, sum total of all these, transformation forces that we see is essentially, we are seeing that by 2035, 50% of the electricity will be generated by the renewable energy. And then we know that today there is a 51 billion tons of carbon produced every year globally, and our target is to kind of eliminate that out of the system. So how does Microsoft say, or how does Microsoft see, what we can contribute to the energy industry? And we look at it with the four pillars of the transformation, namely like operating for the future, transforming your workforce, equipping it basically, digitally to address the today's challenges, transitioning to the clean energy, and then reimagining the energy as the four key pillars of the transformation. When I talk about operating for the future, we are essentially saying we want to bring the operational resiliency. We want to generate value for the stakeholders, of the ecosystem that we are playing in. We are talking about the transforming the workforce, where today's topic is also going to be a little bit deeper in the later conversations, as we are looking at monitoring the set of equipments remotely, monitoring their efficiencies, basically predicting their failures, and then even equipping workforce to remotely monitor them and then service them with the help of eyes on the field, from the with the help of the technology. Uh, Transitioning to the clean is essentially, monitoring the our carbon footprint, monitoring the various avenues of, reducing it, and then effectively executing those particular programs in the decarbonization space. And when it comes to the reimagining the energy, there is a lot of emphasis and focus we see on the newer, business models, newer growth opportunities in this particular space, reaching out to the customers and helping them with the better rates and better services on top of the current way we are engaging. So I will just quickly skim through, these four pillars that we talked about. So health and safety, and as a part of the, operational efficiency or resiliency initiatives, health and safety is an important topic in this particular industry, and leveraging AI ML in monitoring the safe environments and helping basically, ensure
Mahendra, you're on mute. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Mahen sir, we lost your audio.
You have to unmute yourself. You're on mute.
You're on mute, sir. We can't hear you.
I'm trying. Hello.
Yes,
Yeah.
you.
Is
Can
it
hear you
audible?
now, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. I
Perfectly
don't
fine.
know why it went to the mute in between suddenly. Did somebody muted me?
No, 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 sir.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
You're audible. Yes, sir. You're audible.
Thank you. So I was talking about the resilient supply chain. Then coming to the connected operations, today we are investing a lot into the foundational system where a lot of data is generated from the equipments and the processes that we have. And there is a basically a drive in terms of harnessing this data, learning from this data, and building more of a predictive operations, and thus providing the operational efficiencies and top line improvement within the operations. Physics-based models is another interesting area where high performance computing is playing a very big role in basically mapping the seismic plots, mapping the basically reservoir simulation, and then ensuring that higher productivity is achieved through this digital technology adoption. Moving quickly to the workforce, enablement, and here we talked about digital field worker is a key element where we are equipping a field worker with the digital tools. So we are trying to create a single environment from which the worker is able to access multitude of the information like equipment specification, past historical maintenance data, past performance of the equipment, and potentially the next best action when it comes to restoring this asset and servicing the asset and whatnot. Skill enhancement is another important area because we know that we are today in the age of digital, where a lot of digital investments are happening, and hence the workforce needs to be equally competent to take advantage of this digital investment. Knowledge management and collaboration is an important area. We know that there is a lot of churn happening across the industries because of the lot of opportunities available in the space, and hence the newer workforce which comes on board is definitely requiring a quicker way to or a shorter way to learning the skills of the trade, and then also have an ability to uh, get benefited by the collective knowledge of the network that you have. And here harnessing all that knowledge by way of cloud and the AI ML based technologies, and then helping the workforce with the information when they need it, wherever they need it, kind of a thing. And then of course productivity and process improvement is targeted by way of digitally equipping a worker, as well as the information and the knowledge reach that worker is looking for, so that he's spending more time in solving the issues and analyzing the problem versus collecting the data which is required for this. Quickly moving on to the goals of achieving net zero and our commitments toward that, and we talked about measuring the emissions. Environmental measurement is a key basically to be in the control, and that is where we're talking about expanding the sensor network, bringing all this data through an IoTization of the systems, and then managing and monitoring this data from a central location, identifying the hotspots, trends, and then driving the programs for reducing some of the carbon that is generated into the system. We also talked about enhancing renewable and decentralization of the grids. There is a very big drive we see with the renewable is kind of there are more and more smaller footprint is getting developed across the geography with the newer renewable plants versus a traditional way of generating the electricity centrally and then distributing it, and that is requiring to build the more efficient systems which are able to monitor the network and then manage this network with the help of real-time visibility into performance of these grids. And last is nothing but powering the grids, because we are in the age where we are generating an energy, we are as well as purchasing the energy, and hence a synchronized way of operating the grid is necessary, and that's what is calling for more intelligent systems to address the situation at hand. Moving on to the last one, which is about capitalizing on expanding your market positioning, growth opportunities through the newer business model, and that is where we are talking about the customer apps accelerating basically energy efficiency by way of providing the visibility to the end customer as to what all has been their usage pattern and how they can optimize some of the consumption they have. Obviously, increasing the electric vehicle and infrastructure required and monitoring that infrastructure for the vehicle is something a trend today, and companies are looking at leveraging data, AI, and the cloud for implementing such system or augmenting to their digital footprint. We already talk about enhancing the sustainable industries. So basically, growing more renewable, renewable plants and providing the energy to the renewable sources. And the last is unlocking the innovation and the new business models where you're bringing the customer also part of your ecosystem and then creating these newer ways of engaging. And in all this, Microsoft has been definitely helping with our host of products which are into the modern workplace, data and AI, the wearables and remote operations through the the wearable devices and the mixed reality devices and whatnot kind of a thing. So with that, I would like to probably come to end of my presentation and hand over it to the next speaker to understand their views in this particular space. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mahin sir, and that was a wonderful presentation. In fact, you gave us a very good insight about the product Microsoft has offered, specially. We have a special presentation on cloud analytics implementation, leading city gas distribution company in India, by Mr. Vishal Agarwal. He is the partner analytics consulting Ernst& Young LLP. Welcome, Mr. Vishal Agarwal. We have a presentation with you now.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Taran, and thanks, Mahendra, for setting the context. So like Mahendra said, we are going through a massive transformation in the energy space. We are looking at moving very, very rapidly to the renewable space. We are looking at achieving net zero. We are looking at optimizing, bringing greater efficiencies in all our processes. And one other aspect where I think Mahendra also briefly talked about that was the proliferation of data. So there's a lot more data which is available right now, and there's a lot data from standard ERP systems, but also a lot of data from sensors, from SCADA systems, uh, from historian data. So there's a lot of data which is now available. And there's been a big change which we are seeing in the Indian energy PSU market, where a lot of companies are now rapidly coming out with RFPs or are in various stages of implementation of a business analytics and analytics platform, where they are looking at harnessing this data from these various sources and bringing it together so that it provides a very, very clear vision to the people in the organization on various KPIs, metrics which they're responsible for. They're also looking at bringing in AI ML to build predictive scenarios and really help in better decision making. So these are things which are really happening. And today I want to share a journey which we started at one of the India's leading city gas distribution company. This journey started almost 3 years back, where the objective for this company was they wanted to integrate data from their multiple sources, CRM systems, ERP, sensors, SCADA systems, historian, image analytics, video analytics. So there's a whole host of data which they had, some structured, some unstructured, some semi-structured. And the objective of the company was how can we bring this all together so that I can get a better view of business. To give a little bit more about this company, so it has around 12. It's both in the PNG pipe natural gas for domestic users and also in the CNG space with around 1.2 million PNG customers and around 600 CNG odd stations in their portfolio. And the solution they were looking for was where it was more on an OPEX model. It met all the requirements of meeting in terms of the cloud infrastructure and government regulations and all that. And was also looking at where they could get this data seamlessly and uh, spread it across the entire function and department which they had. So we let me just share my screen. So we went into this in partnership with Microsoft, like I said, 3 years back, and March is when we are completing this. This was built on the Azure stack with Power BI as the visualization tool, and it had, if you see, data from SAP, from Oracle database. It had data from flat files, from legacy systems. There's data from SCADA systems. There's data from historians. A SCADA system, basically the pump dispensing systems at the CNG stations, capturing data from there in real time. So we built all this, pulled all this data, built this on the Azure cloud. And we also had, especially the SCADA system was real-time data. So we used, Stream Analytics and IoT Hub to pull this data in real time and generate dashboards. Today, we have delivered more than 465 reports and dashboards covering more than 22 different business functions. And the usage of this is really, growing up very, very rapidly. The size of the data is extremely large. It's already reached a stage of around 60 terabytes, and it's increasing at the incremental data monthly data load is to the tune of 2 to 3 terabytes. In terms of the size of the data, it's been fairly large. But what the client was really happy with the completely seamless operation of this data. So there's, in terms of the response time of the dashboard, in terms of response time of the refresh, the architecture was very, very scalable. We were able to ingest all this data very, very seamlessly. And even going forward, as we incorporate more and more SCADA data, there's no challenge in incorporating this data into the data lake. In terms of response time, again, very, very quick response times, and the insights and the dashboards delivered there's been a lot of acceptance from the users because there's been a lot of emphasis on data quality. There's been a lot of emphasis on getting the right data in, and doing the MDM data governance and all that. So there's been a lot of adoption for this, and we have also implemented a couple of AML use cases using the Azure Microsoft machine learning bench, where in one particular model which we have built for them actually predicts at a monthly level which of the customers are likely to default on payment. And we achieved a model accuracy of over 86%. And this has been implemented and has allowed them to focus on customers who are likely to default, and this has resulted in improvement in the collection as well. So this is a journey which is ongoing. We are now looking at integrating video image analytics as well, and in future they also plan to use drone, and so images captured from drones are something which they're also looking at integrating and using in real time basis for better decision making. So this is something which has been a journey which we are continuing here, and in other we are seeing that similar RFPs, similar implementations are under various stages of implementation in a lot of PSU oil and energy companies. And the benefits of this is very, very visible to people, and especially the OPEX model where there's no capex which is involved upfront. It is completely scalable, and they have it meets all the government regulations, MITI standards, security standards, and everything which they want. And in terms of usability, also very user friendly, and which is leading to a huge increase in the adoption rates of using these dashboards. So this is one success story which we wanted to share, where we have worked very closely with Microsoft in implementing this, and we have taken the same sort of solution set to multiple other clients within this industry and other industries as well, and have seen a lot of success in replicating this across industries. Thanks. If there are any questions, I would be happy to answer them.
That was an interesting presentation, Vishal sir. In fact, do we have any questions from any of the panelists? If anyone who wants to ask any questions, otherwise, obviously, like people can connect with him later on as well. But regarding his presentation, if there are any questions, because we do have a minute's time before the next panel discussion. If any of the panelists are interested in asking any questions. Someone has raised a hand. Okay.
So what's the question? Sorry. What's the question? Is there a question? Type somewhere.
Someone did raise a hand, but
have you implemented API as a part of this project? So we have implemented a couple of API where we are pulling data connectors direct, putting data directly from like SCADA systems, or some of the source systems where we implemented that. So that we have done. Yeah, is that another question? Is that the question? Sorry, I can't see the question. I see a hand. Can you ask the question directly? I can't see. Or is it typed somewhere?
Yeah, it is typed in the chat. I think the question is how the security taken care from the data to the cloud.
So security, so the Microsoft stack itself has all the security features built in. It has MITI certified, some of the requirements where, as per the government, the data has to reside in India. The data centers have to be in India. The backup disaster recovery center also have to be in India, and all the security protocols which are mandated by an organization, those are sort of out of the box from the Microsoft Azure stack. If I have time, I can show that we have this NSG and those other Microsoft components which we have implemented, which basically ensure that all those government guidelines, PSU guidelines, or the organization guidelines are met from a security perspective.
I think we don't have any more questions now.
There's a question. Is there? Okay, can you elaborate on the OPEX model? So when I say OPEX model was that, because this is completely in a cloud implementation, so the actual usage was the actual payment or the actual cost incurred by the organization was on the actual consumption of data. So there's no, there's no upfront investment they had to make on any storage or infrastructure or any of the licenses. The power, the licenses, the physical storage space was, on a subscription basis. You could turn it on and off at any point of time. For example, this organization typically did not really want a lot of, processing to be done at night. There are not a lot of users at night. So we were able to switch off the production server at night so that a lot of cost could be saved and no upfront cost at all. So it was a completely OPEX model. A monthly bill was generated based on actual consumption, or the number of licenses also, you could scale it up and down depending on how many users are using it, or what was the actual statistic, and no upfront cost at all, no commitment of any sort. It was completely an OPEX model. So that's what I meant by OPEX model. There's no upfront cost which was incurred by the organization at all.
I think that is
all.
Yeah, we don't have any more questions. Thank you, Vishal sir. That was a wonderful presentation. and you answered the questions also in a very nice manner. We now have a panel discussion on reimagine energy, operate for the future. And our panelists are Ms. Kumud Wadhwa, Senior General Manager, National Smart Grid Project Management Unit, Power Grid Corporation of India, Mr. Ruchir Agarwal, Chief General Manager, CF&T, Indian Oil Corporation Limited, Mr. Raman Dhillon, General Manager, Head IRIS, Project Anubhav, Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited, Mr. A.K. Ray, Deputy General Manager, O&M, GAIL India Limited, and the panel is being moderated by Mr. Sudesh Kukian, Director Sales, Public Sector Business, Microsoft India. Over to you, Mr. Kukian now.
Hey, hi guys. A very good afternoon. Thank you so much for taking time out and being part of this panel. Good afternoon, Kumud ma'am. Dylan sir, happy to see you here. Agarwal sir, nice to have you. I think I won't waste too much time, and I think let's get the discussion going. Especially, I think when we talk about energy and when we talk about smarter energy, I think the first thought that comes to everybody's mind is, smart grid, smart meters. So I think I'll pose the first question to you, ma'am, Kumud ma'am. As per you, how do you see smart grids revolutionizing the power sector in the country? And do you really think that this will make the energy sector future ready? I think that's the first
Yeah.
question I think we'd like to start with.
Yes. Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for inviting me for this panel discussion. As regards the smart grids making the energy sector future ready, I would like to say that as we all know that during this last COP26 summit, it was agreed that we have to reduce the energy emissions, the projected emissions by 1 billion tons, and also reduce the carbon intensity by 45% over 2005 levels by 2030. Also, we have to go for net zero by 2070. So these are very ambitious targets, and government has already announced lot many policy initiatives wherein lot of thrust is being given to renewable energy, and we have a target of about 450 gigawatts of renewables to be in the grid by 2030. When we say that such renewable generation is to penetrate the energy mix, so the major challenges that are being posed by this renewable integration are that we all know renewables are unpredictable and intermittent, and they pose a threat to the grid stability. So how to manage such high penetration of renewable energy? For that, we need grids to be flexible. And for flexibility in the grid, ICT tools are to be deployed. ICT tools, when are deployed in the power grid, they make the grid smarter, and they allow the information to flow in both the directions along with the energy flow in both the directions. The smart grids are deployments of ICT for monitoring, analyzing, and controlling the grid in efficient manner. So this is what exactly smart grids are. So this is not just one technology, but we have a continuous journey for smart grids, and we evolve the grids to be smarter as and when there are new options available and new innovations happen. So
that's it.
Yeah,
Go ahead, madam. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. How these smart grids can enable better future-ready grids? They will empower the prosumers. Prosumers is the new term coined for the earlier day consumers who are now becoming producers as well, because they can have rooftop solar generation in their households. They will have electric vehicles getting charged maybe in the evening, and during distress, maybe in some near future, these electric vehicles are giving power back to the grid as well. They have behind the meter battery storage, which again can be charged when there is surplus energy, and the surplus energy can be given back either to the household or to the grid as the scenarios may emerge. So this is about consumer enablement, which smart grids can facilitate by better forecasting, better monitoring, and better control. Smart grids also bring in flexibility to accommodate renewables, as I mentioned. Then smart grids are for managing the financial viability. We all know that the distribution sector is the weakest link in the power sector these days in India. Crores of rupees is the losses in the sector as on today. And when we deploy the smarter technology like advanced metering infrastructure, we are able to measure the load till the last node. The SCADA is being extended to the last node in the grid. And by a better reconciliation of the load, we can figure out which are high losses pockets, and we can take corrective actions for reducing the losses. And losses are not just the commercial losses, but there are a lot many technical losses which can also be handled when we better measure and analyze the data which is available. So these are some ways wherein we think smarter grids can facilitate future-ready grids. Imagine maybe in future we have all our rooftop solar in our houses, we have electric vehicles, we have a battery, and we may be treated as a mini microgrid in our own sense, because each household can be a mini microgrid, but which will be again connected to the grid. Grids will not go away. They need
Very
to give
interesting.
supply in the evening.
Very
These are
interesting
how,
point of
yeah.
view, ma'am. Very interesting point of view. And I think, yes, that's where the future is. I just want to change tracks a little bit. And I think one of the flagship projects in the country today is Project Anubhav. And I think, Dylan sir, this question is to you. I think everybody would want to know a little about Project Anubhav and how transformational has it been for BPCL, especially in terms of digitalization. What were some of the major initiatives that was taken up under this project? So, Dylan sir, a view
Yeah,
from you.
thank you, Sudeshi, and good afternoon to everyone. As you know, BPCL is empowering the Indian economy in multiple ways. Over 8.5 crore families are depending upon BPCL for supply of cooking gas to their homes. And every day, close to 1.8 crore vehicles meet the fueling requirements from BPCL's vast network of petrol pumps. Apart from this, we are also serving more than 10,000 industrial and commercial customers in various sectors, be it steel, cement, petrochemicals, paint, etc. Now, what we saw was that today all of us, we live in a highly connected digital world. And all these companies are offering world-class digital platforms, not only to connect, but also transact and entertain ourselves. Some of the examples are very clear, be it WhatsApp, Amazon, or even Netflix. So customers are today aware about this and they find a lot of convenience while using these platforms because they're easy to use, they're omni-channel, personalized, and trustworthy. So they wish to do business only with those companies going forward who give them the same level of comfort. So BPCL always has been a front runner as far as innovation and customer centricity is concerned. So what we thought was that with changing times, make our customer technology relevant and totally integrated so that we can serve our customers better. And that is how we launched Product Anubhav. The key themes were we have a customer engagement platform along with digital marketing. So it's a front facing initiative where we get a single view of our customer. This is supported by a digital nerve center and an integrated supply chain. So here we have integrated all our operating locations, our retail outlets to generate efficiency. So the big advantage of Project Anubhav has been that how can we give trust, convenience, and personalization to all our consumers. So the key deliverable of this project was design a platform that all the customer facing activities for all marketing units. We've got different marketing units, entities. They would come through a unified platform, and not that, but even BPCL will get a single view of the customer. So with this thing, we built that platform to ensure we can offer them that level of personalization and convenience. And to add the trust factor or to reinforce the trust factor, we have IRIS, our digital nerve center. So the entire expanse of more than 19,000 of our retail outlets are all our terminals, LPG plants, few of our consumer pumps. The entire supply chain today is with help of thousands of sensors and devices. And we also using video analytics to ensure safety and also see some other good practices which we can implement. With this, what we have done is that to deliver ensure uniform delivery of all our brand promises. Like we have something called as the Pure for Sure, which we had conceived many years back. So we are strengthening this through technology. Then today we have This is a touchless, appless payment solution which helps the consumer to fuel faster. So the customer he uses this particular application, the money goes to the outlet, shows the QR code, and immediately the dispenser fills that level of fuel. So there is no scope of any malpractice or anything where the customer feel insecure when he's meeting his fueling requirements. Then coming on to lubricants. So here also we've gone for a QR code solution because we are dealing with more than 700 SKUs. We have a huge network of distributors, retailers, then we also have mechanics. So we have to encompass all of them to kind of align them for different loyalty programs. So here also, like we've got cash coupon schemes, loyalty schemes. So by aligning all this today, we have got end-to-end product traceability across the supply chain for any product that is moving from the manufacturing location. We are able to give the product level information to our customers. We are able to map the consumption points and also the white spaces that are available. And there's an instant gratification of the mechanic cash coupon. So he does not feel that pata nahi kab milega or when. So that level of trust is straight away coming. Then even for our big customers, we have this portal wherein they can do the indenting, they can assign their vehicles, and they can make their payment. So it is all becoming so seamless for our consumers that going forward, although it's been more than a year for us, but we are already seeing that it is one of the very powerful initiatives where going forward we'll be able to build on the internal efficiencies and also give a good experience to our consumers.
Absolutely spot on, sir. I think it's a flagship project that you have going there. And I think the way you have reached out to customers and brought this whole thing under one umbrella, it's I think really a commendable job that BPCL has done. We are engaged together. Just wanted to move on to IOCL's Agarwal, sir. I'm sure IOCL is also trying to leverage new age technology. How do you see IOCL leveraging new age innovations and trying to realign yourselves to understand to address the complexities that the new age? I think the pandemic has brought us to a new age. You know, what we used to do 3 years back, we probably don't do today. So how do you see IOCL as an organization leveraging innovation and leveraging technology, sir?
Thank you, Sudesh. You have brought a very valid point how the energy companies came up with the challenges post-pandemic. And you will be surprised to know upon an announcement of the lockdown by our Prime Minister in the month of March, I think 22nd of March, it was the date when at around 8:30 p.m. our Prime Minister announced the total lockdown. And you will appreciate that we are running 9 refineries in country, which were and we were importing the crude from across the world, and the tankers were full with crude oil, and they were on high seas. And there was an abrupt stoppage of vehicular traffic in due to pandemic. And yeah, this was really a challenge for our company when and in fact for all the oil companies where the inventories were to be held up in our tankages. And you will appreciate that our industry is not a switch on switch off type where we cannot take a decision that to shut down an industry. We have to run for security and for to save from any accidents. Now that was a very big challenge, but our team, although entire country was under lockdown, but our entire team was working with the for helping maintaining the energy security, and none of our retail outlets went dry. And you will appreciate that the consumption of LPG reached to the all-time peak because all the cooking went to the home, and by closing of all the restaurants and the eateries, the entire load of the kitchen came to individual kitchens, and all, and you will be pleased and appreciate that none of our kitchens were dry for non-availability of the LPG at that time. And that also brought a sudden decline in the crude and product prices, which was to be maintained. And as a treasury group, we were maintaining our finances. We were maintaining the supply of funds for the settlement of our bills for our international suppliers. And we were able to manage or say came out of that situation, which was a very sudden, which was never expected. And as far as the changes which have come up after this pandemic, there is a shift in change of the consumption pattern too. First of all, our country was a high diesel demand country, but with the lockdown and stoppage of public transport and public shifting from a public transport to individual vehicle, the entire load came on our another product, that was MS. So the situation came up that we were in deficit of motor spirit, that is petrol, and was having excess supply of diesel. So by and large, that was mitigated by increasing export of HSD, that is diesel, because it is not in when we are processing any crude, the product come by its own nature of the crude, the percentage of MS, HSD, LPG, and SQ will be coming based on the crude composition. And you will also appreciate that there was absolutely stoppage of aircraft traffic, and there was a reduction of our ATF supply, and which was also because we have to manage the MS supply and has to see that HSD and SQ are or ATF is kept in our tankages for the times to improve. We have managed it. Things have changed. Things have changed after pandemic, and now with the new environmental concerns coming in, with the new challenges of this 2070 net zero, and this our company is gearing up. And there are regulations also which are forcing us to change, like mandatory mixture of ethanol in our fuels, which is making things to change better, that for better. And we are there, we are changing, and we expect that we will be meeting the 2070 targets as committed by Government of India.
Thank you so much, sir. I think it's really appreciable how our Indian PSUs, in spite of the scale that we manage, have been able to kind of adapt to the new era, the post-pandemic, and been able to kind of make sure that business as usual happens. So I think it's really commendable how we have adapted and adjusted to the new way of doing business. I think this is an interesting question, and this has been, I think, very close to my heart. And I like this mission statement that you have, Mr. Ray. I've not actually seen a mission statement which says enhancing quality of life through clean energy and beyond. Now, this is the GAIL India's mission statement. Just wanted to understand what led you to this statement, and how are you faring on this, and can you throw some light on this? It's a really interesting mission that you have, sir. You're on mute, sir. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Swadil. I will try to explain. Actually, if you see closely, the mission, it contains two aspects. First, it says that enhancing the quality of life through clean energy, and then the question comes beyond. What is beyond? So I will try to explain both. Well, before going to the answer this question, I will ask to all of you to think that what would have happened to our national capital Delhi if CNG would not have come in late 90s. probably city would not have remained livable by this time. So you can understand what I actually imply to say that. So this is a clean energy and which substantially reduces the pollution air, and the quality of the air is substantially is getting better wherever the substantial use of CNG has been implemented. Now I will share some of the facts and figure as the testimonials that GAIL is very much aligned and focused to its mission statement. The figures I will share like that: GAIL operates more than 13,000 kilometers of natural gas and commands 75% of the market share. GAIL and its subsidiaries joint venture also have a formidable market share in the city gas distribution as well. So it operates more than 55% of India's total CNG station. It's serving over 2.5 million vehicle and 2.5 million vehicle and 5 million households. It operates 65% of the PNG connection in India. It is authorized to operate in 61 geographical areas throughout the India, including the metro cities. It supplies gas to about 55% of India's gas-based power plant. It supplies gas to about 73% of India's total fertilizer produced. Actually, GAIL is enhancing our nation gas infrastructure from Kutch to Kohima and from Northern side of Kashmir to southern part of Kanyakumari and Kanyakumari, connecting gas sources to major demand centers, removing regional imbalance in access to natural gas. GAIL has aligned, itself strongly with the vision of government of India to shift the nations towards the gas-based economy by increasing percentage of natural gas to 15% in the energy mix from existing 7% by 2030. And GAIL is doing achieving the target by implementing or constructing various new pipeline projects, and those are under construction and will be gradually commissioned, and we'll sure that by that 2030 we'll be in a position to increase the share of the energy basket to 15%. Now, whatever I have told so far, it is related to one part of mission, that is supply of clean energy. And other part, which is symbolized by the word behind, can be related with GAIL's some other initiative like entry into renewable energy, production of quality petrochemical, production and transmission of LPG, and many social fair initiatives, including promoting startup business. Some of the startup business where GAIL has invested, just I will briefly discuss. One is the satellite imagery data processing through artificial intelligence. This startup is to develop solutions for asset monitoring, security, and intelligence using satellite imagery data. Apart from that, one is that technology-driven B2B marketplace. This is a startup developed and a technology-driven B2B marketplace under the brand name Lalten to create a sustainable income for the grassroots artisan operating from villages for product like handicrafts. Today, startup has connected over 1,200 artisans and across 8 states, and it's selling its product over 140 bulk customer across 18 countries in demand side. So this type of startup we are investing, and apart from this, in the front of renewable energy sector, GAIL is working significantly. It has 130 megawatt of asset of renewable energy, out of which 119 megawatt wind power and 12 megawatt solar. And we have a target of 1 gigawatt renewable energy in coming 3 to 4 years. So hopefully I could explain how we are justifying our mission statement.
No, absolutely, sir. And this is really interesting because this is something that I'm seeing for the it's not very common that this is a mission for companies. I just like to go back to Kumud ma'am. Just wanting to understand, ma'am, while we talk about smart grids, I think we also have the National Smart Grid Mission. Okay, how is the National Smart Grid Mission actually influencing the national smart grid movement? What are the technologies that you guys are focusing on for kind of ensuring that this is kind of optimized and leveraged to the optimum? Kumud ma'am, you there? You're on mute, I think, ma'am.
Yeah. If we
Sorry.
look back, the market journey for the country started maybe in 2010 and 2011 when there were two bodies constituted. One was India's Market Task Force, which was an interministerial body, and India's Market Forum, which was basically PPP model body, which was there to discuss about the new technology options available for smarter grids. So together they prepared the smart grid roadmap in 2013, which envisaged that there should be a mission for taking this smart grid implementation for the country in mission mode. That is how smart grid mission was incorporated. And it was operational in 2015. It is basically comprising of three-level committees, which is governing committee, which is led by Minister himself, Honorable Minister himself. Then we have empowered committee led by Secretary Power, and then there is a technical committee from led by Chairperson Senior. National Smart Grid Mission PMU is being managed by Power Grid people, of which I am also one member. So this is the structure of National Smart Grid Mission. As regards the key technology interventions that NSGM is envisaging or has been working for is, as we all know, the transmission grids are already smart. So SCADA was implemented 2 decades back, and we already have the world's largest VAMS implementation, where thousands of phasor measurement units are there for accurately monitoring, sensing the transmission grid state and taking corrective actions thereof. So that success story of transmission grid management, wherein we did not have any major grid disturbance for almost 1 decade, if you look back. Last grid disturbance was in 2012, which was again restored in within 3-4 hours time. So we wanted to replicate that success story for distribution grid. And in distribution grid, we all found that AMI or advanced metering infrastructure will be a key technology component. That is why that is how the smart grid or smart metering, one of the fundamental components of smart grid, which is smart metering, was the technology component in the pilots also, which were funded by Ministry of Power in 2012-13. So these pilots were approved for 11 locations, and mostly all of the pilots are now live and have delivered the results as well based on the cost benefit analysis and the outcomes that were there. These success story was further scaled out in the form of new policy initiative, wherein government has now announced that around 250 million smart meters will be there in next 3 years. So it is not just about the smart metering, which is the technology which will bring about the transformation. We need to parallelly work on the people part for capacity building of the people, for making them aware what all data is now available, what all analytics are available for them to take corrective action or maybe proactive action to avoid maybe failures or outages also. As well as we need to have proper policy in place so that the technology can bring about the relevant changes, as well as we need to now empower the consumer. Because we all know that smart grids will be taking the grids in the form of consumer enablement to the end consumers as well. So consumers are to be empowered by giving them the information about their usage so that they can participate in giving some relief to the grid by taking corrective actions or maybe deploy by buying some energy efficient appliances. That will be the first step of consumer participation. Next step of consumer participation can be there if we give them some price signals. So in developed nations, we have time of day or time of use pricing. And that is not just one pricing option that is available to the end consumer. They have tariff options available. There are a number of tariff options for all end consumers, and the consumer can choose from those tariff options depending on their consumption pattern and their budget, which is there for their energy or electricity for the month. So similar pricing options, if are available for Indian consumers, maybe they can help the distribution companies to manage the grids in a better way. to avoid, say, costly capacity upgradation, because we all know that peak load is to be served for few hours in a year. And if there is a costly capital infrastructure enhancement plan for managing that or for serving the peak load, we can always have an alternate option wherein consumers can be given some price signal so that they can shift their peak load during that from that time to off peak period, and the capacity enhancement can be capacity upgradation of the grid can be avoided. Deferment of capital expenditure will be there. Maybe we can also have consumer participation for congestion management. Some overloading is happening, so we can give a signal. In fact, without any price signal, also consumers give participate for grid support functions. I got to know in some African country, whenever the grid was under stress, there was a symbol or some alert on the television which indicated that grid is under stress. Kindly reduce your load so that there is no major tripping in that area. And people used to participate for that kind of stress condition also. So this is how consumer participation will be there. And gradually moving to the next level, we will have automated solutions for end consumer also, wherein some software-driven algorithms will be there, which will manage depending on the price signal, whether to use the battery storage for consumption, or whether to store the solar generation in the battery, or whether to export the solar generation to the grid. So all these decisions maybe can be automated with the help of some advanced analytics and software in the near future when we are empowered consumers.
As a consumer, I'm really enjoying this conversation. Honestly, I've never heard the use of the word consumer so many times in a 30 minutes roundtable. So I think this is the way it's going to be moving forward. Consumer, I think, is the epicenter of everything that we do, and I'm really happy with what you said, ma'am. Everything boils down to the consumer, and whatever we're doing, I think eventually boils down to that one person who is kind of consuming. Dylan sir, I think this is a journey that I think BPCL has also undertaken, right? I think customer centricity has been one of the core focuses for BPCL. Can you explain how technology has helped you improve your customer experience? I think you did a bit of that when you explained Anubhav, Project Anubhav, but I think what we want to try and do is how technology has helped. I think that's where we want you to add a little more emphasis.
Yeah, sure. Basically, as I shared that we have developed a consumer engagement platform, customer engagement platform. So the whole idea is very simple. Give a single view to the customer and have a single view for the customer from the company's end. So here what we've done is that we have a unified and integrated app and website for all our customers. It's by the name of Hello BPCL. This has a loyalty and reward management tool. It has a customer management tool. It has a communication management tool. It has some touchless fueling tool, which I was sharing with you in terms of fuel fill. And of course, to manage our customers, we also have a CRM solution. So what we try to do is that give a one-stop solution for all products and services from BPCL through this platform. Now, take the case for the LPG customer. He goes on to this platform, and today Bharat Gas customers can be served through 13 different languages, be it their LPG cylinder booking or making their payment, changing their distributor, or seeking any emergency help or even some mechanic service. Then to add to it, I spoke about touchless fueling. That is also through this portal, a one-stop solution where he can access and do his loading and fulfill his requirements. Then we have different loyalty programs out here, which we majorly meet for our big customers who are on the highways where the fleet is moving all over the country. So that is integrated through this platform. Then even for lubricants, in terms of I shared that the instant gratification through that QR code solution that comes through this platform. Then recently, if I think you must have heard that over a couple of months back, the government gave all the PSUs that they can go ahead with delivery of diesel in PSU approved cans. So in this, we have something called as a zip fuel. So it is nothing but we are offering door delivery of diesel to the customers in 20-liter PSU approved jerry cans. So he can offer any quantity which they want and it is delivered to them. Then we, even for our industrial and commercial customers, like I was sharing that the entire thing is with them. They will plan, they will allocate their vehicles, they will make the payment, they will ensure when their supplies have to come. So we've given the entire thing to them. So it's become a very easy solution for all our customers to manage their different requirements, be it fuel or services. Then we also have an integrated messaging platform. And this is first of its kind in the oil and gas sector. We call it Urja. So it's nothing but a AI chatbot, and it is a virtual assistant with artificial intelligence and natural language processing. Again, it speaks in 13 different languages. And the best part is what we've experienced is that 45% of the conversation on Urja is happening through non-English mediums. So it's become a very convenient means for customers to reach out to our company. And here again, there are multiple options with regard to LPG, with regard to lubricants, with regard to other fuels. So we made this entire journey very, very simple and very, very convenient for them. As regards the CRM tool I was talking to you, so it's equally important that we empower our sales force and give them the same level of technology. So today we are getting different leads from customers. They are able to reach out to them and see that what are the different requirements, how it can be met, pass it on to our channel partners to serve them. So the entire process has become much easy and seamless. And going forward, I think this is going to transform the oil industry in a big way. That is our feeling.
Absolutely spot on, sir. And I am completely in agreement. I think the way we have kind of adapted to the changing times, we've kind of leveraged technology to its best in the best possible manner. I think we've kind of not squimped from using technology to achieve the ends that we want to and make sure that we deliver to the end customer the experiences that they want to. So completely in agreement with you. I think I'm running out of time. There are quite a few questions I still had, Agarwal sir, Das Ray sir. What I think I'd like to do is keep some 5 minutes for any questions from the audience, if there are any. So I'll take a pause here. If there are any questions from the audience, you can put it in the message chat.
Today, sir, I would request, in fact, you can continue in the meanwhile till the questions come in, because we are short of time. So you can continue because you wanted to ask some questions as well.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions, so we probably can end the day with my questions.
Yeah, in fact, yeah, you can
So
continue
yeah,
on
so
that.
fair enough. So I think let me ask a question to Agarwal sir. Agarwal sir, I think while customer is important, and I think what we're doing for the end consumer is important, I think there's a lot of focus that IOCL has on energy efficiency and energy conservation and reducing carbon footprints. So probably we can spend a quick 5 minutes on how IOCL is leveraging technology to kind of address these areas.
Actually, this carbon neutrality and net zero is a very recent term, although the environmentalists had been talking about this issue for quite a long time. But it is only 2-3 years when the big economies and big countries have taken real cognizance of what effect these carbon emission has done to the world environment. Now, you will the 70% of the economies which have really consumed the carbon for the emitted the carbon for such a long period are now committed for this 27 carbon neutrality. But countries like India, which are still developing, we have the demand for our energy. Now we have to bring an equilibrium between the reliable source of energy for our citizens, as well as to maintain and bring the commitment what our leadership has agreed in the world to bring the carbon net zero by 2070. Now, this is a very challenging situation. We are energy hungry, and the cheapest source of energy is still fossil fuel. Now, how to go about? But we are committed, and being a PSU, we are fully focused, and we are acting on it. And as when the issue of sulfur came up, and we switched from Euro BS4 to BS6 directly, investing an amount of around 16,000 crores for betterment of this environment. Now, we are coming up with the technologies and innovations for bringing down this carbon emission. First of all, to start with, we are trying to increase the consumption of this natural gas in our refinery processes, so as to reduce the impact of fuel, crude oil as fuel, or the fossil. Although natural gas is also a fossil fuel, but it is having less carbon emission, and is also not having that impact on as a green gas friendly gas. In addition to that, we are investing huge amount in new technologies of coming up with CBG, and where it is compressed biogas, and we have come up with a SATAT scheme, Sustainable Alternative Towards Affordable Transportation, where this CBG is used for as a CNG in the vehicle. And 1100 odd LOI has been signed for manufacture of around 4.24 million metric ton of CBG as on date. In a We are using this technology to convert used cooking oil to diesel, and we have come up with few plants on experimental basis, and two of our plants are operational, and we have received the supply to our Tikrikaran terminal. We are coming up with 2G ethanol plants at Panipat, and also at Gorakhpur, which will be commissioned in 2020. And that will be reducing the impact of the methane, and which will be converted into ethanol. Uh, we are committed to our waste to energy. I mentioned about that we are already in the business of converting used cooking oil to diesel. We are also in process of converting the waste plastic into the usable plastic. And as far as new buzz, which is EV, we are fully focused, and we are coming up with EV charging stations. We are coming up with battery swapping stations. And as far as number is concerned, 723 EV charging stations have been installed, and 30 battery swapping stations have been installed. And we are committed for 10,000 more EV charging stations in the next 3 years. And as far as use of natural gas is concerned, we are committed to bring the national gas grid, where the natural gas can be transported to every nook and corners. We with our JV partners have got 49 GAs for city gas distribution. So that will also reduce the impact of other emissions. And as Mr. Dillo also mentioned, we have a big plan to in case of LPG, and we have distributed, as on date, we are having around 6 crores consumers which are using this LPG, and the shift has been from the use of coal or the wood, which has also given a relief to the whole household ladies by way of healthy cooking, and also to the environment, because the emission from LPG is also not that severe. Now we are committed, but this 2070, we are sure that we will not be alive to see what the changes will be coming to the world. And sure, you it can be seen that this impact on environment has taken centuries, and a small steps by any individual or any company will also take time. And we are sure that every step taken by us will be for our new generation. We won't be seeing the change, but yes, we have to do it, and we are committed to do that.
So very well said, sir. So very well said. I think at least we can proudly say that we are the people who have kind of started this journey, and probably we can leave a good environment for our great grandchildren. I don't know whether I can say grandchildren. I'm already a grandfather, so I don't know whether she will see the clean environment that we're talking about. But I think we are on the right path. Thank you so much, sir. I think this was really insightful. There is a question here. Thanks, Mohammed. I think the question is to Dylan, sir, you. What is BPCL's plan to implement AI in their customer-centric initiatives?
Yeah,
Interesting question, actually.
Yeah. See, we've already done this piece in terms of implementation of AI. And in my conversation earlier, I shared that in terms of Urja, our chatbot, it is basically AI-enabled tool which we are using out there. And if we look at our other initiatives also, like I spoke a little bit about Iris. Now, what we've done in Iris is when we have integrated all our retail outlets, terminals, and LPG plants. So all the assets are today on a single and unified platform. And we are getting so much data, as our earlier speaker was talking about, that through AI we are getting a deep analysis of that data, wherein we can make more informed decisions, even to the extent of any failures or predictive analysis or any hazardous situations. Then we've also taken the technology piece forward in terms of machine learning, where we are using the cameras at our retail outlets as well as at our locations to ensure safety, security. So the intent is that all our routine and repetitive tasks will be taken over by technology. And as all the speakers have been saying, time has come to reskill the manpower to take on more important roles, wherein machine technology can support us in doing the repetitive tasks. So we are moving to Industry 5.0 through this. Very interesting times.
Yeah, nice. Thank you so much. There's one more question. How is oil and gas industry in India looking at IoT enablement for their upstream to midstream operations? Thanks, Aditi, for the question. Who would like to take this?
So I can answer part of that question to Aditi. So Aditi, as an IoT piece, we've already implemented that. And again, it is nothing but Iris, because when you're talking about integrating different systems, automation systems, sensors, and cameras, so IoT plays a very big part in this. It's been a very enriching journey for all of us. We've completed 14 months in this particular initiative. And today, the good part is through these IoT systems and sensors, we are getting real-time data on 24/7 basis, wherein we can take very informed decisions on each of the assets, locations, what action needs to be taken.
Agarwal Saab, you would want to throw some light on
I
how
think Mr. Dillo can give throw a light on that issue. I am probably not that focused on.
Sure, sir. But I think, yes, Dylan, sir, I agree. IoT, I think, has really thrown some insightful, data points. And I think data is the next gold, right? That's what we all see as we move forward. And I think the IoT actually has given us the start by giving us the data points. And I think what we do with it next is probably only time will say. But yes, I think we are on the right path. Do we have another question? Yes. How are we on time? The question is, are we working to use hydrogen as a fuel for vehicles?
Yeah, that is that question I can answer. That first of all, we have to understand that hydrogen is not that easy to handle. It is a highly inflammable gas, and it is one of the gases which, when on fire, we cannot see. Otherwise, all other fire, if it is on say petrol or on diesel, the flame is visible. But it is very dangerous gas by nature. Now, but it is very healthy, and it is not emitting any. Uh, it is not emitting carbon or any other poisonous gases. When used, the emission is of water. Now, this is a take which we have to take. Yes, our company we has elaborate plans to enter in the venture in the hydrogen technology. Our R&D center is working on it, and we came up with hydrogen spiked CNG in Delhi, and the trial runs were on, and we got a very encouraging result where the portion of hydrogen was mixed with CNG and was used in DTC buses, and the results was encouraging. The emissions were less, the output was high, and now we are in our R&D department is working on hydrogen fuel buses, and we hope that the trial runs are on, and they are commuting in restricted areas. Now the trials are on, and we expect that upon completion of trials and successful implementation, we will be coming up with the technology, and we will see the hydrogen as a new fuel.
Thank you so much, Agarwal sir. I think there is one more question. Why don't we have a focused industry-wide forum for AI ML implementation across oil and gas sector in India, where learnings can be shared and there is some standardization? I think the point taken, Abhishek. We can kind of do this. We'll kind of take this as a recommendation and suggestion from your side. Yep, we'll do that. In the interest of time, I think we'll wind this up. I'd like to express my sincere thanks, Kumud ma'am, Agarwal sir, Ray sir, Dylan sir. Thank you so much for taking time out, being part of this roundtable, and giving your insights to the audience. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you again here with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Suresh sir. Thank you. That was a wonderful moderation, in fact, and thank you so much to all our panelists of this panel, Mr. A.K. Ray, Mr. Raman Dhillon, Mr. Ruchir Agarwal, and Kumud Wadhwa ma'am. That was a very insightful and a very wonderful discussion. We now have a technology presentation by Mr. Amit Bansal, Senior Product Marketing Manager, Dynamics 365 and Power Platform from Microsoft India. And the presentation is about connected assets and transforming supply chain. Over to Mr. Amit Bansal now. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Taranno. I'll just share my screen. Just confirm if you can see that once.
Yeah, if you can share the screen, sir.
I've done that. Can you see that now?
Yes, sir, we can see it now.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. My name is Amit Bansal, and today I'm going to talk about the power of Microsoft Dynamics 365 and the kind of enablement that it is going to bring specifically in transforming the supply chain in large manufacturing units like yours. Now, before I do a deep dive, I would like to specifically call out the discussion we just concluded. Now, the panelist discussion that I heard was very interesting and insightful for me. I picked a few keywords from there. For example, artificial intelligence on the data, machine learning, predictive analysis. So these are some of the buzzwords, and also the IoT usage, specifically with regard to pulling the data and ingestion of data for further processing. So these are some of the keywords that I would like to pick up. And I'm really glad that organizations like BPCL, IOCL, they have already embarked on this digital transformation journey. We will quickly look at the numbers, and then we'll do a deep dive that how Dynamics 365 can further enhance the data maturity, and also the insights that we can get from this data and how we further use it to actually give a good experience to our end customers. So these are some of the numbers that you can see on your screen. Now, we all know that digital transformation is actually changing the entire landscape of manufacturing. And what we know is that the cost of IoT sensors and the mobile devices and also the cloud-based platforms, the cost have decreased over a period of time. And also there's some advancement that has happened in traditional analytics as well as machine learning and AI algorithms. So what has it done to the industry? It has created a storm that has become very engulfing, and it is almost opening the entire manufacturing vertical. What are we supposed to do with this? Now, our customers have become very knowledgeable. We all know that, and they want more responsive experience in purchasing or using any product. So these are some of the trends that we see wherein our customer wants us to do these many things. Are we actually doing that, taking that approach to change ourselves is a question. So on this particular slide, you will see that these are some of the challenges that our internal personas are facing within any organization. In your organization also, I am sure these are some of the challenges that you may be facing. And this would be specifically for a supply chain head or a chief marketing officer or somebody who's looking at the innovation. So probably you'll have to ask yourself whether I am facing the similar challenges within my organization or not. What are we doing to encounter these challenges that we are facing? So first thing we have to see whether have we taken a right approach which is actually igniting and transforming my business or not. Have I done any improvement or have I monitored the IoT assets that I have already deployed? Did I enable any kind of new scenarios or optimizations to make my field service more profitable? Did I do anything to strengthen my collaboration between the front and the back offices or even across the processes within my organization? Also, the data that I'm getting, am I uncovering the insights by managing and analyzing a diverse set of data because I'm getting the data from different sources? Also, am I leveraging the technology, the new technology like improved bot frameworks, machine learning, algorithms from AI, and so on and so forth? So these are some of the questions that we have to ask ourselves. Now, what we will do, we will see that how a typical manufacturing setup would work with Dynamics 365, and we are going to play this kind of simulation here. So on this particular slide, I just want you to imagine that you are a manufacturer who actually sells and services small industrial robots. Now, you have deployed Dynamics 365 also as a solution within this whole setup. Now, with this Dynamics 365, you would actually get an ability to manage the entire supply chain using machine learning and the embedded capabilities to guide sourcing and procurement, and also to coordinate them with forecasted demand. When your sales team is pursuing a lead, you can provide the customer with quick automated quotes and targeted offers based on sales data, as well as provide detailed performance information. So this would be imperative for your sales team as well as the end customer. Now, everything that you learn about your end customer during this initial engagement would actually become a part of the customer profile, letting the sales team seamlessly share and collaborate with both supply chain as well as service personnel. So there is a handshake which is happening between frontline as well as backend processes. Successful tactics or engagements, they would actually become a part of the cross-reference set of data, both from logistics as well as sales service perspective. Also, this collaboration would provide a seamless transition from sales to fulfillment. So basically, any kind of order fulfillment that you're doing within your organization, the transition would happen seamlessly. And also the ability of your any employee to access order details within the system or the account history, it will ensure that the customer is supported throughout the process of sales and delivery. So the wow factor or the satisfaction of the customer, end customer, would be increased many times. Also, what we have seen, the processes that are connected natively to the management of packing, assembling, or shipping. So all these operations would happen in sync. And as soon as the order is placed, every resource which needed to fulfill is automatically mobilized as well as notified. So in all, what we can see that all the additional data that is getting generated from IoT sensors and tracking across operations, sales, these analytics would actually help you to identify that how to best recommend the products, engage with the customer, and also service the customer. We have some features like self-healing and remote troubleshooting. In case they do not work, then when we envisage a potential disruption using machine learning and AI, technicians can be dispatched immediately with the right part as well as an expertise to achieve the first time fix. So basically what we are doing, we are also curtailing and taking care of the resolution time of your end customer. Finally, at every step, both you and your end customer will have a 360-degree visibility into the relevant parts of the entire supply chain and the business, and the customer can observe real-time updates on the robot's working condition, productivity, as well as service history through a single interface. Also, we can talk about the embedded machine learning and visualization sitting horizontally across processes which actually helps to optimize your employees' time, and actually they can get to real insights faster. So that is the way that we actually manage a complete supply chain, and also we extensively use the data which is coming from different IoT sensors. Not to mention, we are leveraging between CRM and ERP capabilities of Dynamics 365, because these integrated solutions can help you to track leads, automate field service, drive sales, and also improve your operations using all the modern technologies that are inbuilt within the Azure cloud that we have. So this is one example that we always give for any supply chain discussion. And this becomes very handy because by way of this simulation, customer can get to know that how to optimize the data they are getting and how to further manage and use that data for increasing the customer satisfaction. Now, other thing that we have to be mindful, it is not just about connecting your devices and products or probably applying your advanced analytics to what you do today. Basically, we need to have an holistic approach. And that's where we say that whenever you want to unlock some business value for your end customer also, you need to connect your IoT devices, which can be in the form of hardware equipment. You have to analyze your data. You have to visualize your information and then interpret processes and people in order to make an informed decision in a very, very productive way. With this level of connectivity and the insights that we get from the data, the IoT device and the products become highly valuable digital services in itself, and it can give you some predictive proactive guidance also, which can also be personalized as per your end customer requirement. And that is why we say Dynamics 365 will always enable all our manufacturing organizations to optimize their supply chain operations. It can streamline the management of assets and the production processes. It can help you to engage your customers in a very, very powerful way. Also, it can help you to transform your service centers into profit centers. And then, last but not the least, it can also accelerate innovation for a competitive edge technology. Now, quickly, I'm going to map the different workload that comes as a part of Dynamics 365 with the problem statements that you may be facing. I'm sure you're already aware by now that Dynamics 365 is an industry-leading CRM and ERP, which is built on our Azure cloud. And it's a purpose-built application that are designed for multiple roles, multiple industries. And there are some key functions which actually leverage these multiple workloads. Just to name few, if we talk about finance operations, finance and operation is workload within Dynamics 365, which can make your data-driven decisions with a very, very comprehensive enterprise solution. And it can grow. Basically, if you want to scale that up from small to medium size or to even large financial institution, that is possible. Then we have project operations, which actually helps you to successfully manage your project-based business. And you can also take care of your clients using some intelligent tools, which are again built into this whole workload. Then we have a sales workload, which can help you to turn your relationships into revenue by bringing some new digital intelligence. We have customer service, wherein you can actually earn your customers by life. Basically, you are gaining their affirmation for the brand. Then we have field service module, wherein we can actually master the service call with smarter capabilities. We have marketing, wherein we are unifying the sales and marketing to connect customer experience. Then we have talent, which is purely from HR perspective, just to give a personalized onboarding experience to the new hires. And last but not the least, it's a retail workload, which can actually deliver exceptional retail experience. Last but not the least, we also connect this with the familiar Office 365, or now it is called as M365 application just to bring together the two worlds of businesses. And basically, it would enhance the greater productivity by integrating both these families that we have. And then I'm sure you would be aware that we have these business intelligence tools like Power BI and Cortana Intelligence, which can actually help the companies by achieving their business goals with predictive insights, prescriptive advice, and also it can help you to inform that what are some of the actionable next steps you can take in order to give a better experience. So these are some of the things that I wanted to share with you. Without taking much time, I'm just going to hand it over to Elets team. Over to you, Elets team. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amit sir. That was a wonderful presentation on connected assets and transforming supply chain. And we now have another technology presentation. We now have another technology presentation by Miss Aditi Rathi. She is the Director, Product Growth Analytics and AI, Azure Business Group, Microsoft India. Welcome, Aditi ma'am.
Thank you, Taranum. A very warm welcome. I mean, we are more than halfway into the session, but from my end, a very warm welcome to all our guests, our speakers, and all the attendees who have taken out extended time this afternoon on a Friday afternoon and come to listen to us. So, without much ado, I'm going to be sharing my screen, and one of you could confirm if you could see my screen.
Not yet, Aditi. Yeah, now I can see.
Right. All right. So, as the topic that goes for me as to what the data-driven insights, for operational efficiency in the energy segment. And, we have, we just heard so many eminent speakers today on how we are already, right, yeah, being a developing country, we are so committed to the next level of discussion in energy. Right, we are on the path to transformation. We are adopting new technology to get into sustainability goals, which on the face of it sounds so paradoxical, being spoken by industries who are dealing with conventional and non-renewable sources of energy. Right. So with all of that, I think I think doesn't surprise us that how the whole evolution of energy landscape has happened. Even countries like India, countries like ours, we have caught up and caught up with the whole journey of or the evolution of energy landscape overall, right from thermal powered. Thermal powered electricity or energy to all the way to now exploring newer and newer sources of renewable sources of renewable energy, right, and or fresh clean energy, and then automating the whole process. I deliberately asked this question on IoT enablement from upstream to midstream, because that sounds like more of a Western or a more advanced use case. But today our oil and gas segment is using that, and they're already ready with data that's available, and the data that has immense potential to give insights that we could never think of, right? So we're just evolving, and now we're getting into a very interesting phase for the next decade or more. Wherein the whole consumption, and I heard one of our speakers say that we've never heard consumption so much in the in context of oil and gas, right? So and now it's going to be self-governed and automated consumption and consumption-centric economy around oil and gas. That's just coming into play. With that, the interesting cusp of transition that we are in, I think the whole landscape is changing. There is there is a shift in the whole mix of energy sources, right, or the adoption that how it is going. The utilization has also shifted, right? Now, in India also now we're talking about electrical vehicles and charging stations and incentives to consumers for saving electricity, etc., or power, etc. And then we are also, I think, now already talking about grid. We're talking about this decentralized, architecture wherein all the energy sources, the distributed energy sources will come together, right? And there'll be this energy exchange wherein, very proportionate amount of cost implication would happen to the consumers, and benefits would be given to the consumers, and in line with being the carbon neutrality or the environmental concerns and such as these that we are thinking about today, right? So we here, like, the whole discussion from traditional generation, transmission, distribution has shifted to very consumer centric or distributed energy systems, and we are somewhere in the middle trying to get into that phase and adopt technology to be able to do that. They make this cultural shift in terms of how we look at technology, how we run with technology on a day-to-day basis, including across our workforce, and what are the new models of business amidst all of this. How do we catch up, how do we keep up with our revenues as we look at the newer paradigms, right? And I think all of this is getting possible because like never before, we are allowing technology to transform the business, technology to transform the energy systems which we are which we're evolving into, right? And I think cloud and data-driven technologies or data-led technologies are at the forefront of driving this transformation, and like any other industry, right? And I think we heard one of our eminent speakers talk about how IoT has become reality, right? We are looking at gathering as much data as possible from the edge, from our manufacturing plants or our refineries, and then bringing it together to derive newer insights, newer actionable insights, which are converting into immediate business needs for us. And I think that's where some of the challenges also sort of lie, right? That while we do this technology adoption, what are the low hanging fruits or the immediate places wherein we could make an impact to the ROI while we are preparing ourselves for the future, right? How do we reduce our operational cost and increase our production through a mix of energy sources? Now we saw recently with the whole pandemic, right? The demand supply went for a toss when it came to energy, right? So how do we sort of keep up with this changing demand, and that all the more will happen where as we move to the grid architecture with the distributed energy sources, right? So how do we sort of prepare ourselves for that kind of a dynamic situation? And this challenge goes from all the way upstream to downstream. And very interestingly, like Microsoft has been the forefront of this transition with its sustainability goals, with its commitment to carbon neutrality, with its commitment to making a clean environment for generations to come. I think we've been very closely working with this segment, oil, gas, utilities, energy segment, globally, and and we have been at the forefront of transforming or modernizing the value chains in the industry. For example, this is just like a showcase of what the oil and gas value chain looks like somewhere from your upstream to midstream, and a little bit on the retail side, right? And the kind of use cases that we see today from data driven right, or digitized, bringing in IoT data from the rigs or extraction units all the way to the refineries or petrochemical units, and with forward focused operations, talking about security at the same time, so that your supply chains are not disrupted, your the signals coming from the IoT are not disrupted, and your communication with the customers is secure. And then with all of that, how do you connect with your consumer, to come up with new very retail like paradigms in ONG, like the loyalty management programs, or your retail operations for customer benefits, your social listening around all of this? How do you provide very quick maintenance to right from your upstream all the way to your customers who are consuming your pipe gas lines or your at their homes, right? So how do you provide for the rise in electric vehicles and so on and so forth? So lots of these use cases across the value chain are getting transformed with technology, with data that's coming in from IoT, and then analytics, and advanced analytics and AI on top of happening on top of it. And some of it is already becoming reality, and where maximum transformation is also happening is down somewhere from midstream to downstream, wherein right from your where the energy is getting produced all the way to where it is getting consumed. I think we are reimagining a lot of things. We're transitioning to clean. We are reimagining the way it is, way we communicate with our consumers, right, and up to their until their homes, right, and how do we manage for the grid architecture that's going to come up, right? So I think what I've also done is because just delved a bit into a few examples into this part of the value chain, what we have done globally, or what are the various a little advanced use cases with IoT and AI and data analytics that that has really led to the transformation that's happening in this space, right? Now, what sets the whole technologies landscape with the Microsoft apart, or what has really been beneficial for our customers, is the whole stack that comes together with Microsoft, right? I think we heard Amit talk about the CRM platform coming together, the Power Platform coming together, and the intelligence that you can build in your supply chain with all the data that already exists in your traditional CRM environments with Microsoft, right? And then this on top of it, there are Azure-based services that are available for you to operate as a common data model from different sources, from the CRP systems, your ERP system, CRM systems, your ERP systems, your IoT data, so on and so forth, and take it to another level of cognition or generate very intelligent insights or actions from it, and also govern this entire data estate that is sort of scattered across different vectors of your business. And then there is this whole ecosystem that Microsoft has with its partners and customers on top, that has already leveraged and has been scaling that effort in democratizing some of this technology that comes, right? Microsoft being part of these open standards and industry consortiums towards energy segment, and a lot of our partners globally have built on top of it. Now, coming deeper into coming back to the whole technology discussion as to what sets us apart. One of it is the whole leadership in the IoT space. Right, as per the IDC Energy Marketscape, the industrial IoT platform on Azure is one of the best in the industry, with extensive partnerships with IT, OT, and AI players, and that seamless integration with them, and a broad strategy, very from edge to cloud, that enables the transformation through that, right? And I think that's what makes it it's real for a lot of our customers as they adopt it. And then, the other pillar is the data modernization, where a lot of our customers, all of our customers, including, the oil and gas customers, have the traditional data stores or the operational data stores, which could be now moved to cloud, given that the sizes of the data are really scaling up, and, or it could continue to be in a hybrid model with their on-prem data stores, right? So be it you're trying to move your relational database or adding non-relational data to it with IoT, I think there are methods and means to very smoothly move them or modernize them with cloud, and be able to give them that kind of elastic or cloud scale that they will need as the data grows, right? And again, Microsoft is a recognized leader there. And then I think the heart of all of this is where when we say is in analytics and AI, then I think the heart of all of it is a unified data platform that makes it possible for you to do all kinds of analytical, operations on top of it, right? And we are talking about a variety of data here, be it your relational data, your unstructured data, your data that's coming from customer platforms or the chatbots, that we learned about, right? That your consumers are communicating with you on. So how all of this data coming together? How do that in a single platform so that you can leverage the data together for cross leverage, for cross insights, for actionable insights, and also enable advanced data science to the same data, right? So that single unified platform is one of the key elements that is a silent player across this kind of transformation. Because your data is getting generated through IoT enablement, the intelligence is coming from AI, but there's a lot that happens in between on a unified platform, right? And again, the market leadership is sort of known for this Azure Synapse Analytics platform. And then, of course, the data science, which has bunch of different building blocks from right from Azure machine learning, which allows us to do custom machine learning, to actually available building blocks to process all kinds of data through cognitive services, which just reduces the whole time to the cycle to production, right, or the time to market of with these with available data science sources, right. And then, as I said, the governance, right? Your data estate is going to be very heterogeneous, scattered across establishments. And how do you bring that whole data piece together and sort of ensure that the data is clean, discoverable, cataloged, available, and controlled, while still maintaining the data silos that different parts of the business or vectors of the business need to operate upon, right? And then seamless integrate, and this brings together the seamless integration across your SQL stores, your Dynamics, or your CRM systems, your ERP systems, data warehouse, and so on and so forth, right? Now, as I said, I'll just quickly go over a few use cases, very high level, discussion of these use cases as to how these technologies come together and make it possible. And I'm going to just more, for example, I've picked up use cases on there from midstream to downstream, wherein except for this one, which is about your operations for the future. Now that more we are looking at IoT enablement, this becomes even a bigger reality, wherein we are to not looking at the different parts of the supply chain, right, from exploration and extraction all the way to how it gets refined and packaged or further processed and then delivered to the end users, rather than looking at all of it in a sequence or siloed operations. Now, the modern supply chain or intelligent supply chain just brings everything together into a feedback mechanism or into a single platform, wherein you could look at all the signals together and derive insights out of it, right? So if the dependency of one vector on four other vectors is sort of clear, your the intelligent algorithms on top would sort of take actions and predict in future the issues that could crop up, or the demand or supply mismatches that could happen, and sort of cater to it ahead of time to reduce downtime, improve operational efficiency, and improve profits, right? How does it translate into a business architecture or a reference technology architecture? Is, again, as I said, there is this the heart of everything between what happens on the analytical output or intelligent output or business intelligence and from where the data is coming is here. Right, wherein you have a unified data estate for your analytical needs, which does all the magic in between, right? Taking all the input data from your IoT or transactional stores, or the dumps that keep coming from your operational units, right? So that's your intelligent supply chain. Very quickly on the AI powered field experience, right? It could be even an entire service, and something very similar to, I think, what Amit described. That imagine a situation wherein you have a remote plant or remote rig where for your for fossil fuel or even your renewable source of energy. And there there are all the, it's IoT enabled. You have sensors, you have a lot of data coming in, and some alerts are generated or some warnings are generated ahead of time on some increasing parameter like a temperature, pressure, etc. Right? And then this is then your workforce or your worker just picks that signal up and feeds it into a, say, a chatbot back to the manufacturer, saying that this is not, this seems to be a warning, and or directly it would be automated to go to the manufacturer, and manufacturer has all the information on the different parts, because we're talking about this unit which has hundreds and thousands of parts and hundreds of thousands of sensors and parameters that it runs on, which are critical to production, right? And this this your supplier is aware of this and could predict through, again, use of AI, which is built on, say, historical insights from the previous logs, etc., as to what should be the they could predict that when is the failure likely to happen. So how much time do we have before an action is imperative, right? And so we do, so the downtime doesn't need to happen now. It could wait until that time, which also allows ample time for the manufacturer to fix the problem, to send the best of the support back onto the location and fix for it. Or if if that does not happen, if they're not physically sending the support back, then through workflows, guided workflows, through mixed reality, the workforce on the remote asset or remote location could be guided to really do the maintenance or do this repair. And this whole also part also becomes a part of the supply chain. If you think of it, if you just relate it with the example that Amit gave, that this is also about supply chain as a chain of that small part, which could lead to a larger downtime if not taken care of in time, right? So and then and then that gives a lot of opportunity for this manufacturer or this supplier to modernize your equipment at the right time, be able to sell you something, right? So just like this, just one scenario which you could talk about, experience on the or from a connected field, or preventing downtime from a connected field, empowering your workforce at a remote location through connections, right? And while it may sound like very science fiction kind or very far-fetched, and some of it or parts of it or variants of it has really happened with some of our customers, right? And as we move to that, for example, Rockwell Automation, they have adopted, remote monitoring from their SCADA systems, of their remote equipment. And from there, they are getting, the performance characterization and signals on optimization or possible downtimes or the possible issues that would crop up. And the actions could be taken well in time to ensure that the uptime is maintained, the efficiency is maintained, right? So remote diagnostics, remote, predictive analytics, predictive maintenance is sort of built into their remote pumps or remote oil field as a part of digital optimization, right? So that is happening. We have this example from, say, XTO, which is a big which is ExxonMobil company from United States, and they also monitor the safety, their plans for safety of their personnel, for sustainability, which is the carbon footprint, which is continuously getting logged with due to regulations, and they're empowering their workforce with the newer insights in their hands, right? So we are talking beyond just normal business intelligence, but real-time business intelligence for maintenance and safety of their workforce, as well as for future possibilities, right? They're also monitoring their well operations, to take actions, to be able to continuously explore for more sources, right? And they're using a bunch of technologies from real-time streaming of IoT data to doing batch analytics to to intelligence to data science on top of it. Similarly, one of the equipment rental, the asset rental company or asset management company for oil and gas from the US, they are operating on similar models. So just to substantiate, right, that this is happening, this is real, this is happening in some ways or the other. Now, coming to the whole grid discussion, we already heard that we are thinking LPG grid, for example, right, and power grid is becoming reality with smart meters. So this is going to be one location wherein there could the multitude of data sources will come together, multitude of signals will be available to process from, and it's going to be beyond human operators to really make sense out of it, and take decisions which impact such a huge audience, or which have such large impact when it comes to load forecasting and pumping up your demand to match up with that, right? So that kind of grid management or intelligent grid would happen only with the help of AI or advanced analytics. And again, just to give a glimpse through your agile operations that are ready to cater to such a dynamic environment, your employee productivity, because this is going to be 24/7 situation. How does your workflow sort of deal with it, and leverage automation to be able to efficiently deal with it. How do you match this demand forecasting to the supply, right? While all the signals are coming from IoT enablement, intelligence is coming from somewhere. You have a data estate that is scaling to your needs. I think that's very, very critical to anything that is building on top of top of data, right? So this data estate sitting in the middle is something which is elastic and catering to dynamic needs, and that's what cloud enables or cloud scale analytics enables for you, right? Then one of our customers in Germany, a quote from them on how they have been able to do this grid innovation with a partnership from Microsoft, right? They want to make the grid more power efficient, right? Which is the main reason for the grid in the first place, and and they've become like from being energy generators or carbon footprint generators, they have become energy partners in clean environment, right? Then another one for reimagining energy through energy management and building operations, especially with these huge manufacturing plants that the oil and gas segment entails. Offices. I mean, everything can sort of contribute to energy management and building operations, including your rigs and industries, right? Again, I just like, when I was hearing the reply out on Iris, I just added this slide to talk about that. Yes, even chatbot is becoming real as a conversation, right? Who thought that? I mean, we were never as customer centric in this segment, as we are today or we are thinking today. So, then again, your virtual agents that are sitting out of your bot services, right? So which are like out of box, bot enablement that you could do with your operations, right? With the platform as a service, the PaaS solutions or AI PaaS solutions that are available on cloud today. So yeah, this pretty much from it from me. I just made a modest attempt to give a glimpse of how Microsoft is partnering with this segment worldwide and making this transformation real, and the whole technology adoption less daunting. So thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Aditi, for that wonderful solution area presentation on data to actionable insights for operational efficiency. And now we have another solution area presentation by Dhruv Soni. He's the technical sales professional from Microsoft India, and his presentation is on connected field force. Welcome, Mr. Soni. Over to you now.
Hi, I would love to speak here. Yeah. Okay. Hi. Thank you so much, guys, and good afternoon and good evening. And I can understand that it's been a long marathon of this particular session that you have been focusing on to so many workloads, and I have understood the fact that you are looking into so many solutions. And I'm really kind of impressed the way how Aditi has been able to portray her solution area. And what I'm trying to go ahead and now look into is to have our discussion being narrowed down into the knowledge management. And I'm also going to go ahead and focus in terms of our time constraint. So what I'm trying to go ahead and understand is, or in fact, what I want you to go ahead and look into this is it's as one of the future approach. So why am I going to go ahead and focus onto this is that because modern workplace is already a very mature offering by Microsoft, which we are trying to go ahead and offer to our customers, where we are trying to touch base onto the points which would be helpful to you. Now, these points are being targeted on to have your entire journey being digitized as much as possible. We are trying to go ahead and have our digital services being offered and the modern IT and the skill set being delivered to your current operational activities. So we have already got a lot many learnings from the pandemic scenario. We have looked into how things are actually been taking a shift in the future. We are trying to go ahead and have this entire journey of our users who are being onboarded into the customer's environment, being onboarded into three different categories. We are looking into the executive branch, we are looking into the information workers and to the frontline workers over here. Having that been said, we have tried to cater the demands of all these three workloads or three profiles in such a way that the heavy lifting should not be done by each and every person. So we have got the licenses, we have got the infrastructure that has been split across, be it like a power structure, power grid, or be it like a gas industry. I would like to go ahead and understand that this particular section of our government operations has to be digitized, and how it is going to happen is that by meeting the expectations that what is going through now on a daily basis. Every day on past couple of years has been a learning for us. We are trying to go ahead and overcome the losses that what we have looked into, but we are trying to go ahead and have a huge infrastructure being set up, which is going to be spun up across the secure world. We have understood that there has been a lot many vulnerabilities that has been addressed. The vulnerabilities of people working from home, people working from offices, people working from their own devices. The customers have been complaining about they've not been able to control the secure infrastructure because they were not ready for having the security to be expanded outside the network boundaries. So we have tried to go ahead and have everything being brought together and been able to provide a secure access to all the government employees anywhere, anytime. We have been looking in to go ahead and address the complex requirements or the regulatory requirements, be it like a voice traffic, be it like a network traffic, or be it like the email traffic. You would definitely be able to go ahead and find that network traffic to be more streamlined for your frontline workers or information workers or executive branch. You just have to go ahead and figure out how things could be accommodated in your journey of digitalization. Having that been said, we are now trying to go ahead and figure out how to have our frontline workers being targeted. So this frontline worker target is actually regarding the workforce who is trying to go ahead and have majority of the work being done in the front end. Now, this could be your lineman who's working into the gas agency or the power grid. This could be a voice traffic engineer who's actually working onto the having the audio and video things being compiled in one go. We have got the entire structure of solutions being bundled into the modern workplace setup, where we are actually trying to go ahead and have our Microsoft Teams as one of the strong points over here. When I'm talking about Microsoft Teams, it goes without a say that I am the one who's got the capability to have audio, video, chat, presence information, screen sharing, document sharing, or even if I want to go ahead and do a co-authoring of one of the document with like 10 other people at the same time, I'm able to do that now. We have been able to go ahead and deliver this solution very heavily into many of the government sectors. And we have been able to go ahead and target onto the pain areas, which was like like how do you manage the shifts? How do you go ahead and assign the tasks to the users? How do you reduce the paperwork by having a digital approval system being implemented into the government organizations? Not only that, as what Aditi was trying to go ahead and highlight about the analytics part, yes, I'm going to go ahead and look into the analytics part in the Power Apps as well, which I would be able to go ahead and have a graphical representation of any of the databases that could be connected to Power Apps. Oh, I'm sorry, the Power BI. So having that been said, we have tried to go ahead and make this this digitalized world being more interactive by having polls, forms, surveys being distributed. All that is possible through Microsoft Teams. We do understand that this journey has been new to everyone. The journey has been new to Microsoft for the work from home culture, or for having bring your own devices. We do take the training and the upskill the upskill requirements to be much more effectively being given to the users. We are offering you to go ahead and create your own on-demand videos that could be distributed to your end users. You can look into the live events, Teams channels, Yammer communications, personalized user portals. Everything is under the single umbrella. You just have to go ahead and use it as per your own requirements. You don't have to go ahead and start coding about it. You don't have to go ahead and start scratching your minds about how things need to be brought up into the single place, because these things are already in there, in available for your infrastructure through Microsoft, and you would be able to have this being utilized in a much heavier way so that the users productivity can be increased. When I'm talking about the productivity part, I cannot go ahead and move further unless and until I would be trying to address about how these users who try to go ahead and come together, how the employees are trying to go ahead and strengthen the culture, or in fact empower the users in such a way that they would be able to like have a lesser workload, or like lesser distraction at the time of the production hours. So being said, like we are looking into give as small as like a feature like praising anyone. So if somebody's done a good job, we have the option to go ahead and give you the praise. And on the parallel part, we cannot ignore the security, although our team's communication is already encrypted in the form of like data at rest and data in transit, but we still have got a gamut of solutions that would be able to provide you a good amount of security, be it in terms of Microsoft Intune or Azure Active Directory, or the identity access management, the encryption, the device sharing mode. Everything has been addressed into the world of the frontline worker target that what we are looking in for. A couple of use case scenarios which I have tried to highlight. I'm trying to go ahead and rush a little bit here because we do understand that we have gone over the time, but just try to go ahead and in the constraint of time, let's try to focus on a couple of questions here. I'm closely working with so many other public sector units, and I do understand how important it is for the communication it is for the public sectors, be it like an internal communication or the external communication. Soon as you go ahead and make a mind of having the cultural shift to be done inside the organization, you would be able to go ahead and look into have your own communication to be done on the real-time basis. As small as the example is that like we have a ready-made walkie-talkie system that everybody is carrying a mobile phone at the moment. They just have to press a button and they would be able to use that as a walkie-talkie through Microsoft Teams itself. Just like a push button that they would be able to broadcast their message to the closed group that is actually a part of that particular walkie-talkie system. You and I are already on Microsoft Teams. We are being able to go ahead and see each other. We've been able to share our screens, and the Teams meeting has now tried to go ahead and make the world so smaller that we would be able to have our entire infrastructure being actually actually connected in a much more secure and in a much more productive and parallelly in a fun way also. We are looking into go ahead and have the training and the training onboarding and upskill programs that what we are trying to go ahead and give that to our customers. There are a few ready-made apps which are available in Microsoft Teams, which you can go ahead and leverage in for your employee onboarding, or even if you want to go ahead and look in for training and development of your employees. Having that being said, the training and development is something which is close to my heart because I have been doing this from past many years now. And I'm looking into the fact that where the training and development comes into the picture, it's actually an investment to the employees. Coming from the mindset where you are trying to go ahead and have your employees been coming onto the digital world, and you have already made the effort of having the users been brought onto the same page. Training is definitely an important investment that you would be looking in for your organization. SharePoint Online, which is one of the biggest reason that what we are looking in for the modernization, be it like I'm hosting my internal SharePoint website where I would be able to go ahead and have my latest documents being uploaded, latest documents being shared across. I can use that as for my repository inside my organization. It's a modern intranet. So I don't need to go ahead and have pieces being scattered across into multiple divisions. When you are talking about having things being addressed in the form of power and energy, you would be looking into go ahead and understand that the world is confined to your own public domain, where you want to go ahead and have things being brought up together, and you would be able to share things internally or externally as per your own requirements. This is quite a very important resource that you would be able to access either onto the laptops, desktops, mobile phones, tablets. In fact, not only that, I can go ahead and also assure you that we are providing you the enterprise search where things would be happening on from one single point, like you would be able to search from one end and it was going to go ahead and search to the last end of your Office 365 profile. You would be looking into the modern workplace being brought into the smaller place over here. With this, I come to the end of my presentation. Won't be taking much of your time, but if you have any questions, please feel free to put that in the chat window, and I'll be more than happy to take it forward. And over to you, Elets team, Taranum, if you want to take it over.
Thank you, Ms. Soni. That was a wonderful solution area presentation. And we now have a fireside chat with Mr. Atul Kumar Tripathi. He's the Executive Director of O&M GAIL India Limited. Mr. Tripathi had some exigency, so he could not join us live for this. But I had interviewed him earlier so that he could be a part of this event, and we have a pre-recorded interview with him now. Just let me give a brief about Mr. Tripathi. Mr. Atul Kumar Tripathi is presently the Executive Director O&M at GAIL India Limited. He possesses rich and diverse experience encompassing over 31 years with GAIL India Limited in areas of project O&M of pipelines, petrochemicals, and GPUs. Also, he has in-depth experience in operation and maintenance of various gas turbines, steam turbines of multiple manufacturers like Ellison, BHEL, BGGTS, NP, and Solar. Mr. Tripathi has completed his degree in electrical engineering from IIT Varanasi and did his MBA in HR and marketing from Sikkim Manipal University. So we now have a fireside chat with Mr. Tripathi and Mr. Tripathi's views on the subject, the topic for today.
Thank you, Taranno. And namaskar to those who are connected through virtual platform or whosoever is present in this conference. And I thank Mrs. Elets Technomedia for giving me an opportunity to address this program. And they have really selected a very good topic for that. That is reimagine energy and operate for the future, which is very apt for the present situation. And I'll just go through some of the infrastructure theme and like how we are going ahead in the India for as far as energy demand is concerned and its fulfillment. As you know, the most important parameter for development of any country is the per capita energy consumption.
That is in fact quite interesting, sir, what you are sharing with us. And if I may just ask you about like what you are just sharing and how like what plans India has, what plan GAIL India has, uh, what technologies have been deployed by GAIL India to modernize and optimize operations and improve efficiency?
Okay. You must be aware about the GAIL that it was established in 1984 as a zero flaring project of ONGC, because the main concentration of ONGC was for drilling the oil and making the import as low as possible for during those periods. So they could concentrate more on the oil, less on the gas. So in 1984 in ONGC itself, HBJ pipeline project was envisaged by World Bank, and World Bank funded that, and it was it laid the pipeline of around 2,500 kilometer length. Our and in this pipeline, the technology we use, like if we go through the equipment or the machinery which have been used, those were not manufactured in India, mainly for those efficiency requirements. So we took the total technology from the abroad itself for higher operational flexibility as well as higher efficiency also. I would like to tell few of the examples in this case. The one of the most important the system was SCADA. You must be aware about that. That is supervisory control and data acquisition system. By that, we were monitoring the complete pipeline and its pumping station also. And based upon the parameters of the pipeline hydraulics, we could identify which pumping station has to be started, which has to be stopped. So by doing that, we could reduce the operational internal consumptions also. Moreover, as far as health of machine is concerned, we use the first developed transient data manager that was developed in the world first time by Bentley at that time. We use that also for health monitoring of the machines also. Similarly, we are using the various digital tools to improve the efficiency as well as operational flexibilities also.
That was very, in fact, insightful, sir, how you gave the background about SCADA and GAIL, in fact. As we all understand, sustainable development is one of the major agendas or major goals on which a lot of organizations have been working worldwide. And it is a very important agenda for the Indian government as well. How far, if you can just share it with us, how far is GAIL India contributing to the agenda of sustainable development?
It's a very good question. As you know that natural gas is one of the clean fuel which can minimize the pollution which may come due to coal or diesel or petrol or even wood also, I should say. So in this case, although you must be, if you go through the trajectory of GAIL's business, it is increasing day by day, and we are expanding our business from if I compare with the initial times, initially we had the pipeline length of around 2,500 kilometer only. Now we have reached up to somewhere around 15,000 kilometer. So if we compare the the internal consumptions, like natural gas used for the pumping of those gas which has been transported to the different areas, that we are trying to reduce, and moreover we are very much successful in that also. And similarly for the GAIL's other plants, like those who are in petrochemical and gas processing units which are manufacturing the LPG, they have also not increased the per tonnage of consumption of their fuel also. Similarly for the water also. So what we are doing on the sustainability front, we have a monitoring mechanism. Already we have a sustainability policy also, and we are abiding by that. And if you go through the GAIL's online web portal, you will get the sustainability report which we have recently published on that and hosted on our web portal also. That is the 11th one. So you can very well understand the GAIL's commitment for sustainability development is very much aligned with the government of India's commitment.
That was in fact very interesting, sir. And as we all understand that GAIL is working on renewable energy, biogas, and it's very strongly committed towards cutting down its carbon footprint. How are you? How far are you faring on that front? Like, if you can just give us, some details about your upcoming projects on in GAIL, for that matter.
Okay. Uh, if you go through the discussions in the media and in our various forums, rather in the last 5 years, the thrust on the renewables has been increased. But I'd like to share from our end that we were there in the wind energy. That was the first one which we took over in 2009 and 10 at Kutch region, and from there we started our journey. And similarly, like if you go to the Jaisalmer also, that was the one of the 5 megawatt solar power plant that was first built in. So at present we are operating somewhere around 130 megawatt of renewable energy power plants, and we are expecting that in the next 5 to 10 years we will be our portfolio will be somewhere around 1 gigawatt in the renewable energy basket. And GAIL is also committed to invest something around somewhere around 5,000 crore in the days to come. So that will be one of our most important portfolio where we will be investing. Okay, thank you, Taranno, and namaskar to the.
That was our fireside chat with Mr. Atul Kumar Tripathi. And I would with this we come to the end of today's Energy Innovation Summit. And I would like to once again thank all our panelists and all our speakers who were here today, and they spared some valuable time to us to be a part of this event. Before ending this session and before ending the summit, I would like to offer a token of gratitude to all our speakers and all our panelists today. So can we have a token of gratitude certificate for Mr. Dhruv Soni, one for Mr. Amit Bansal, a certificate for Mr. Vishal Agarwal, for Mr. Mahendra Hasabnis, for Ms. Aditi Rathi, for Mr. Sudesh Kukian, for Mr. A.K. Ray, for Mr. Ruchir Agarwal, for Mr. Raman Dhillo, for Ms. Kumud Vadhva, and for Mr. Atul Kumar Tripathi. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this the event for the summit, for the PSU summit, and have a great day.
Thank you.